Well, hello everyone. It's been a while since we've had an interview, but have a fun guest with us here today. We've got the driver of the number 980 WISSOTA Street Stock, or actually formerly WISSOTA Street Stock. He has an IMCA stock car now, as well as a WISSOTA Midwest Modified, Kaden Woodie out of Milaca, Minnesota, which, fun fact, for those that know, my cat is also named Milaca. So if you're wondering where the name came from, that's where it is. How are
That's
you doing,
awesome.
Kaden?
Good, man. Good. Just got home and kind of relaxing for the night, and figured we'd hop on here.
Yeah, I my schedule has slowed down finally after the racing season. I guess the last couple of weeks has been pretty low key, but this has been a big, busy time of year coming off like all the invitationals and finally winding the season down up here.
Yeah. I mean, especially this time of year, it's kind of like a little bit of a breath. You can kind of take a breath for a few seconds because like you kind of before the winter months kind of hit, but you're also still like I guess out of race mode. So I guess the last 6 8 weeks, I think we've been every weekend wide open for 2 3 days show. So it's been kind of nice.
Yeah, I mean, from it's kind of a blur from like the Labor Day week all the way up to now. It's kind of just like
Yes.
I can't really focus on anything or devote time to much else.
Yeah, I would agree with that, especially since yeah, you get the WISSOTA 100, and then the week before that, I was in Iowa for a whole entire week for that $100,000 to win stock car show. So it's like we went pretty wide open for like I said, I think 6 7 8 weeks, something like that. So it was kind of nice, kind of wind down a little bit and go through the cars and see what I wouldn't say damage, but what all maintenance that you gotta do a checklist off on over the winter. But
Yeah.
so
Yeah, I'm excited to kind of get to know you a little bit because you race in both sanctions, IMC and WISSOTA. Before we kind of get into that, though, you have the number 980. So, based on like other drivers that I've interviewed that have triple digit numbers, they come from like motocross, but I believe you guys race snowmobiles. Is that correct?
Yep. We race snowmobiles, motocross, ATV motocross. I did that for snowcross anyways. I think I did that for 13 14 years, and my body was like, no more. You can't do this no more. That saying with age becomes a cage was definitely true for me. I mean, two shoulder injuries, two knee injuries, my some ribs and facial injury. I mean, I've been run through the ringer with injuries, so it's like I was like, I'm kind of done with the whole physical sport. I need to get inside of a roll cage. So, but uh, but yeah. So no, the number thing that kind of came through the snowcross thing because we had to run 3 digits with that. If you were below, I think pro light or something like that, or pro. So it's like I always ran 3 digits. I guess not for the first couple of years of racing, but then once I started racing nationals, and I was racing all the nationals, I was racing, man, I think probably 20, 25 races a year just between regionals and nationals. We had to have 3 digits. So I was like, might as well just change it. So they actually picked a number for me. That's where my 980 came from because my number originally was 98. So,
Okay. Yeah,
so
and you have your sister Taven who also races with you, and she's 873, so kind of another snowmobile racer herself.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And hers based off of her birthday, 8/7 of 03 type thing. So that's kind of how ours is. I was born in 98, so that's what I guess that's just it was fitting for me. And my dad, when he used to race dirt track, that's what his number was number 98. So kind of just fitting type thing, and then one thing led to another type thing.
There you go. And so as you transition into cars with roll cages, how long have you been behind the wheel of those?
Um, I think 2020 was my first season. I probably had 13, 14 shows, 15 shows, something like that. And then the second year, I think I had close to 20 or so. And then after my second year, I built a brand new street stock, and I really started hitting it hard. And I got close to 30 that year. And then, so I had, I think it's probably, this is my fifth year. I think it's split my fifth year now. So yeah, 2020, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, fifth year.
Yeah.
So
Well, and kind of just briefly looking at your My Race Pass from this year, you have quite a few events because you race all year round, not just during the summer.
yeah, I was actually just looking. I think I had like 65 or 66 or 67 features, something like that. But I think I raced, I think 89 or 90 events, like 89 or 90 events between running two cars a night. So I mean, that's it's a lot of racing for 1 year. That's why I was like, when it comes this time of year, it's kind of like relieving to kind of take a little bit of a breath, especially after 90 race nights type thing. It's a lot of work to do.
Well, and kind of that makes me think too, since you have a car in both IMCA and WISSOTA sanctions, you can kind of pick and choose the time of year. Like, okay, I'm going to focus on like the IMCA car here
Yo.
and then the WISSOTA car here. So that's kind of a nice balance, I assume, throughout the year.
Well, yeah, like last year I raced, or this last winter, I went to Yuma down to Kokopah and I raced the Winter Nationals for the 8 or 10 days, or I think it's 10 days that they raced down there, and then they had like a week off, and then I stayed in Arizona like the entire winter. Like they went home for a week once, I think from January or from well, it was New Year's Eve is when we left to go down there to I think March 2nd or March 1st, and then on the second we were home for a day, and all my stuff was all still loaded up, and I went right back down to Park Jefferson and Sioux City, and I raced the first IMCA Midwest race, I guess, of the year, and in like March 2nd or whatever. So it's like I raced I think 30 shows between January to March, and then I think our WISSOTA season started like early May or something like that. So then we once that happened, I had basically a month off, and we started hitting it hard again. So
Yeah, and it's kind of unique, kind of following you like this, especially just the 2024 year. So you had like a street stock and a IMCA sport mod, and now you have
mhm.
an IMCA stock car and WISSOTA Midwest modified. It's kind of you just flipped in both the
Yep.
sanctions.
Yep. Yeah, I had the street stock for a couple of years, and I realized I was like, you know what, like this is really fun. I love racing. I love racing it because I mean, there's a lot of cool guys, especially the street stock tour. I love going to that because I mean, for one, it's like a big family, and then I mean, everyone's especially after the races, everyone's hanging out, everyone's feeding each other at each other's trailers, and everyone's got drinks, and we're all just kind of always hanging out type thing, and then. I mean, obviously the payouts are awesome, and it's cool just to get to go hit new tracks and see new atmospheres type thing. And then um, but I was like, you know what, like with the sport mod, the B mod, or the sport mod, and the stock car, it's kind of hard to get everything to line up just because, like, yeah, quick steers and everything else like that. And the stock car is, I want to say it's so much more than the street stock, but it's a lot more car to hang on to. And it's a lot more of a handle. And then you got the stock or the sport mod where it's pretty radical too. Like it's more radical than our Midwest mods. And I was like, you know what, like I just kind of need to get rid of that street stock just because it's hard to jump back and forth between the two cars that are here, and then you got the street stock over here. It's kind of in its own little world. So that's why I decided to go to a Midwest mod and WISSOTA, and then that way I mean, Midwest mod you can race kind of anywhere that you want to in all of WISSOTA land. So
Yeah, there's definitely no shortage of cars to race against either. I mean, we were just at the Topless Nationals this past weekend. There was like 82 of them. So
yeah,
some stiff
yeah,
competition.
I was shook just to even see that because I mean, there's more than man, you get more than that, or well, there's more there than there was at the 100. I think close to the legendary 100 poles combined. So it's like when you get that many cars, I mean that's hard. Like if and I was fortunate enough. I started up front in my heat race, and I won the heat race by a pretty substantial amount. I was pretty stoked about that because I really been struggling this year with that new car, and I've really got some stuff figured out because we tried some new stuff in practice, and I was like, why didn't we do this 3 months ago? This would have been awesome. But no, it's crazy because you really got to race your butt off to be able to make it into the feature. And my sister, she raced, and I've been trying. I once I made it, I knew I was going to make it in. Obviously, with the heat race wings, it wasn't by passing points; it was by finishing position. So I knew I was in the redraw. So I was like, I went and helped her on in the B mains and tried helping her and stuff like that. But it was you really got to race your butt off. 'Cause I mean, you got Vandekamp and Jake Smith and Blake Adams and all those fast dudes that have won national championships and stuff like that. It's definitely hard to compete because I mean they're all that knowledge. I've been only been doing this for 3 4 years 5 years, so it's you get all those guys that have been racing for 20 plus years. It's hard,
Yeah, and
but
especially kind of where you're at, like in Milaca, like Ogilvy, Princeton, like a very, very good caliber of drivers that race there
yes,
locally.
yeah. I mean, like there's good drivers everywhere, but I feel like our specific area, like right here, is just. I mean, it's the level of guys, like the amount of level guys is here. Like there may be guys up here, but the amount of level of guys is here, and it's so hard. I mean, like one little mess up, and you're running from first to 10th like that. So I mean, you always got to be on your A game, especially the guys around here. And it's fun because I mean for the most part, everyone runs you with respect. I mean, obviously, you guys have been racing for a long time, so they know how to race you.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. Especially so when you with all your traveling that you've done over this year or previous years, do you have a specific track that you kind of take a liking to or that you perform the best at?
Granite City, I definitely like Granite City. I like the little bouldering tracks. Princeton, I've always done good at. But Granite, I don't know why. It's just, I mean, a lot of people will kind of bash on the place just because it will have some. I mean, there will be some nights where it is a little rough, but I've always liked the little bit more characteristic tracks. I've always shined with them. I've drove better. Like I said, I grew up racing motocross and snowcross, so being able to take three lines and merge into one to be able to kind of tiptoe your way through. I've always liked that kind of track, and then when it's slick, it's awesome because it gets racy. You get a top line, you get a bottom line, and it's slick right to the center. So you really got to be tiptoeing and make sure that your car and you are on your A game. Because I mean, it is a fast track. So I mean, I would say that my out of all my tracks, I would definitely say Granite's probably my favorite.
Well, you bring up a good point too, because typically for me, since I live 3 hours away on a Sunday, I usually get to Granite City once or twice a year. But the more I've gone, like the more I've kind of see like what a typical race night at Granite City looks like. And that track is actually really racy and really exciting to watch there, especially when it slicks off and you get multiple lanes. It's a really fun track.
Yes, and like James and Brian and Tanya and them. I mean, the whole crew at Grand City Motor Park. They've really done a good job, especially the last couple of years. I mean, 2 years ago it was pretty rough, and I mean like it was rough, but it was like slick rough. So it wasn't really racy. You got really bottom dominant. But this last year, I mean, they really been busting their butt. And James is always. I mean, he has guys out there all week, 10, 12 hours a day, at least 3 or 4 days a week tuning in on the track. So it's like it's really cool to have promoters and stuff like that, track owners to be able to do that, especially like on a Sunday. I mean, everyone's like, okay, we race. Say if you're racing 4 nights a week, you race Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You're like, okay, we go to Granite. Hopefully, it's a good track tonight, and when it's good, it's really good. I mean, I definitely don't take anything away from them with that for sure.
Well, and it kind of goes with all tracks around the region. Like, if you only get to like once or twice and you kind of have like a maybe not so great experience, it's kind of tough to go back. But honestly,
Mm-hmm.
like it's tough to have like patience. But like the more I go to tracks and kind of see, okay, I get an idea of like how they go through a race night and what their track is like. And if you stick around long enough, you're gonna have some pretty good experiences there.
Well, yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, like I've been to, I think one of the other cooler tracks. It's not WISSOTA, and they only race there. Well, they race sprint cars and late models every week, but that down in Huset's and Sioux Falls, and that is, I would say, if excluding WISSOTA, I think that was probably my most favorite track. Like that track is wide open, full ring, walls on the inside and outside. Look, literally feels like you're in like a little mini Bristol.
Okay.
It's I won't say Bristol, but Martinsville, I think is what I'm thinking of. It's not something like that. Some small little tight track that's. I mean, it's really cool because you got walls on the inside and on the outside, and it makes for good racing. So I mean, like, and it's cool to get to go to different places. I've been to Canby for that street stock tour, and I mean, obviously, like I've been to Fergus and tracks around here. I think that everywhere's definitely got their plus and minuses, but I mean, for the most part, I think WISSOTA's got a really good handle on their tracks, and the track promoters for WISSOTA's got really good tracks around here for sure.
I would definitely agree with that. Yeah. And of course, you get to, like, with being in both sanctions, you really get your pick of the litter on where you want to go. So you spent a
Yeah,
week down in Iowa, I believe it was for some big paying stock car shows.
yeah, yeah. So it was, I think it was practice Tuesday, and then we qualified, or no, yeah, it was practice Tuesday, and we qualified Wednesday. Like it was time qualifying. And that was a riot because I've never done that before, and I was pretty stoked because I was the fastest qualifier in my group for the first, I think 30 guys or something like that. So I was like, I'd set like a really high high standard after that point, and I was doing really good. And I was in actually my heat race, and I got a little close to the wall, and I smacked the wall and climbed the wall and wrecked my car. So I mean that was kind of a bummer, but so I once you kind of get set behind the pace on that a little bit, I had to really hey, there's Milaca.
Yep, make an
No,
appearance.
but but yeah, no. but no, that track was pretty cool because it was really top dominant, but like when it was top dominant, you were rolling. There was like a foot and a half cushion all the way around it, and doing that on a stock car was pretty gnarly.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt. That's got to be cool though to kind of be a part of a big race like that, especially for such a big payout.
Yeah, I mean, like in XR put that on, and I mean it was really cool. It was like I felt like I would say I wouldn't feel like we didn't deserve to be there, but like there were the amount of dudes that were here compared to where I was, like I wouldn't say the speed wise. I mean, I was competitive, but like just the amount of experience. Like when you're racing against like Kelly Shryock and Dallin and Damon Murdy and Jake McBurdy and stuff like that. I mean, like dudes like that in those stock cars, and they're no joke. Like they're super national winners and national championship winners, and like Shelby Williams and stuff like that. It's intense. Like I mean, it's cool to go down and get to be a part of that. Just being a part of the whole atmosphere is really cool.
Yeah, I remember looking at my race pass on that and I'm like, oh, this is an insane field.
Well, like I mean, every time it doesn't matter if I mean, after I wrecked my car the first night, or the first night of racing, I went out and I mean, I was buried. I was like the G main, and I raced through the G main, made it through. Me and Ryan Satter, obviously you know Ryan, and like me and him, we were three or four or five. Like we made it into the next one, and we went together. And we started nose to tail on that. We were actually going up to the pack together, and then I had left rear cut down. Guy got in the side of me and cut my left rear down. But I mean, like just even be there, like with that stack, like the F main and the G main and the I main, and all those 5, 6 races that you had to run the alphabetical soup in it was nuts because I mean like you got like Kurt Lund that ran from like the F or the G main whenever I first started racing the G main, and like that was intense. Like he ran the whole thing just to make it to the A feature, and he was the only one to do it. And like he's a national championship worthy dude. Like he's fast.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
So
that would be pretty cool to see. I hope are they planning to do that race again for future years?
I think they are. They did post something that they already have it planned. They don't know if they're going to go back to 300 Raceway, which I hope. I kind of hope they do because that was kind of cool. Like it was, I think it was owned, I think by Simon Trucking, which it's right there, right in the on the same grounds or whatever. And we basically parked in the trucking company parking lot, and like it was cool because I mean like we got to park in the grass and kind of away from the track, so it wasn't all dusty. And like the facility is it's next level. Like it, I walked up to the grandstands the first day, like I think for practice, and I'm like, man, this looks just like a NASCAR facility. Like just everything, the rocks are perfect, like the landscaping. Well, come to find out, it's a wheeling facility. So I mean, I think they're a branch off of NASCAR. So it's like, and they only race like once or twice a year. And
Okay.
for them to only race them once or twice a year, the track was pretty dang pristine.
Wow. That'd be
So
pretty cool to see in person. So as far as the off season, what little off season we have as racers and fans,
you
what's your
know,
plans heading into kind of the winter 2025 area?
so I was planning on going to, well, I still am planning on going to Vegas for the Duel in the Desert, well, I guess 3 weeks from now. I'm hoping to go. I'm not 100% if we're going to be able to make it or not, just depending on cars and getting motors back and stuff like that, and just making sure that all of our, because I don't want to go down there and only be half tilt type thing. I want to be 100% full in if we're going to go. So I mean, it's a long ways to go. You're 30 plus hours away from home, so it's um so like we plan on doing that, but I don't 100% know yet. But otherwise, for sure, we do plan on going to, or we are going to the Winter Nationals again, and it's not in Cocopah this year. It's in Central Arizona Raceway, which is I think it's like 45 minutes just straight south of Phoenix. So,
Okay.
and my parents bought a house in Whitman, which is just north of Phoenix. So it actually works out pretty good. So like we can go down there and spend some time at our house down there, and then go racing and yeah, have fun down there. And then I think I definitely plan on racing all the races that I can down there. I know there's a couple races in Mojave Valley, which is over by Lake Havasu, and that was a pretty cool track. I had a win there in my sport mod last winter. So there, I think we definitely plan on going to those two tracks for sure. And then if we have time, or if there's other places that are in that facility or that vicinity, then I think we'll definitely try to hit them too.
Yeah, so it sounds like hopefully come once November comes around for Dueling Desert, you'll be pretty busy from there on through February, it seems it sounds like.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if we don't go to the duel, we'll definitely go. We're gonna go to Gateway just to go watch. Obviously, we've been there the last couple of years, and that's a cool event to go to, and it's always fun just go hang out with friends and stuff like that. And then I think we got a like an Airbnb this year that we're gonna go down and go stay in with. I think there's like 10 of us or 12 of us that are going, so that'll be cool. And then so we'll have a little bit of a break, obviously, from there to Christmas, and then after Christmas, it'll probably be wide open, 100% ready, full race mode again.
Yeah, me, I'm like, I'm ready for a break, but yeah, you get me around like that February time frame and be like, okay, I'm starting to get the itch again.
Well, yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, like last year, like I was like, we built a brand new. Like I said, we build race trailers, like we were talking about earlier, and we built a race trailer, a 53-foot stacker, and we finished it the day that we left. Like we literally were finishing putting all the like part of the trim and just part of like just the odds and ends stupid stuff that we were to finish the trailer up, and we even when we got down, like we still did stuff in the pits to finish the trailer type thing, like putting like pit pal stuff on the wall and just random stupid stuff. But um, so like I mean, I definitely like being a little bit more wide open because I think I would get bored otherwise. Like I have to always be doing something type thing.
I I totally understand that. Like this, well, not this weekend, but the following weekend, I'd be like, what am I going to do with my free time?
Exactly. Yep, exactly. I've got a bunch of my honeydew list for my fiance is growing a little bit, and we built a house, and I've got like the railing in our house I haven't built yet for our upstairs that I'm in right now, and like I haven't built the because I was gonna build a railing for it to match the stairs because I got a spiral staircase, and she's like, "When are you gonna get that done?" And I'm like, "I just barely got done racing. You gotta give me a break here."
You know, a little bit of time to decompress a little bit.
Yep, exactly.
Well, before I let you go, I want to give you an opportunity to thank any of the sponsors, any crew or family that helps you out.
Yeah, yeah, no, we definitely couldn't do it without anyone like or not without anyone, but without everyone that backs us. I mean, we got my parents. I I can't thank them enough. I mean, they 100% back my sister and I. Bruce, our pit guy, he does what he can with what he can. He doesn't do a whole lot of work, day to day work. So whenever he does get the chance, he comes over and hangs out and at least throws a wrench on some stuff and make sure all the bolts and nuts are tight. Make sure the nut behind the steering wheel is in or is in check. But otherwise, I can't thank them enough. Sean, buddy of mine, that he went to Arizona with me all winter last year. He was laid off, and I was like, "Hey, you want to go help me drive my semi down?" And because he drives truck for a living and or dump truck anyways, and so he's like, "Hey, like I'll come with you if you want." And I'm like, "Absolutely, come wrench on cars." And so we lived in Arizona all last winter. So gotta thank him and thank everyone that throws a hand on my car, all of our sponsors. MTH, Professional Mechanical Services, Helmerson Sports Center, um, Nitro Lubricants, General Formulations, Fox. Dan Ebert does some shocks for me, and all those guys. Smiles for Jake, Matco Tools by Goliath Tools, B&B Race Chassis, Cadillac Race Chassis, B or what was it? Idaho and Potatoes. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't do it without any of those Zuli race engines. Frank Zuli built me one hell of a good motor and always reliable. And I can't thank him enough because he does a lot for our program too. I can call him on a Tuesday night and be like, "Hey, I need some help with this car and I cannot get it to run right," or say if I need valves done or valve springs done and I don't have time, he'll come up at 6 o'clock at night and he'll do it and he'll get done at 8:30 at night and drive home back to Hutchinson. So it's like I really appreciate dudes like that because if it wasn't for guys like that to be able to help us racers out, we wouldn't be here. So I got to thank them and all of our other sponsors that really take care of us. Roxbury Transmissions, Racers Exchange. So I got to thank all those guys and thank guys like you for giving us the opportunity to be able to promote ourselves, and really appreciate this opportunity. So thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Definitely takes a team of everyone involved in the racing community to help everyone have
Yes.
success. So,
Yeah, exactly.
well, and if you want to follow Kaden or Taven on Facebook, Woody's Racing is their Facebook page. So be sure to give that a follow or a like. And so you can stay up to date on their racing
Yep.
adventures, whether it's during the summer or in the winter months, because I know a lot of us are going to be stuck in the igloos up north. So something to
Yeah,
keep us
yeah, yeah.
occupied.
Well, everyone's in the igloos up north. I'll be in the frolicking. I'll be frolicking in the cactuses down in the desert. So that'll be. I don't know. I'm kind of excited, but no, let's appreciate everyone tuning in, and yeah, if anyone can be awesome, go throw a like on our Woody's Racing page, mine and Taven's Instagram. So it'd be awesome. Thank you guys.
Perfect. Well, appreciate getting to know you, Kaden. Good luck this winter down south, and we'll be seeing you for sure next summer.
Absolutely. Thank you.